Do you struggle to stay healthy while fighting your pornography habit? Today, I want to talk about 2 truths to true holistic healing for you. This is hashtag Truth Talks, pornography and health. Today, I want to share with you about 2 truths that I learned the other night. There was a few things that really stood out to me that inspired me. And coming out of that, I took some notes last night and really wanted to share some heart with you guys about health. Personally, I know that one thing that stood out the most was that a lot of pornography addicts and people with pornography habits actually become food addicts. So truth number 1 is that many porn addicts turn to becoming food addicts. Also other addictions as well. There's several other ones, obviously cigarettes. A lot of the times it's addictions that you might say aren't as bad as pornography, aren't as bad as drugs. At least I'm not spending the money. At least I'm not doing this or doing that. A lot of times it comes from excuses. So truth number 1 is this truth that a lot of pornography addicts who maybe get clean or are still struggling kind of go back and forth. Myself, I would struggle with pornography for 3 months. And then through that, I would be so good with my diet, and then it would switch. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but I feel like you probably have, which is why I wanted to make this video for you. And something that stood out so powerfully for me was an acronym called SEEDS, S-E-E-D-S. Today, I just want to share with you about EDS. So if there's any EDs watching this video, that's great. Eating, diet, and sleep. And the reason I wanted to bring these 3 up is because I don't know about you guys, but I've tried diets and fads and going to the gym and different lifestyles. And I know personally for myself, when I am not feeling healthy, I realize that I am tired and worn down and easily tempted. And this is why this is so crucial, because if you're not feeding your body with the right food and the right amount of exercise and the right amount of rest, what you're actually doing is you're setting yourself up the next day behind the 8 ball. You're allowing Satan to get a foothold on who you are, on your identity, and the world around you now becomes more appealing because you're tired, potentially angry, feeling less confident if your eating habits aren't good. All of these things that create a lot of corruption in your mind. Tiredness of the mind, it creates laziness. And self-doubt and self-hate and self-anger creates rebellion, which often leads to acting out. These are things that are so important. And what I learned also is when your eating habits and your diet and your sleep are on point, you're actually feeding your mind. And what you're doing is that's allowing you to fight temptation, to bounce your eyes, to get rest so you're focused the next day on what the prize is. If you're married, it's your spouse. If it's your God, it's your God. What your prize is, you get to focus on that. But when you're tired and worn out from the food you eat and the lack of sleep you have, man, it is hard to fight the good fight. And one example I wanted to share that was so powerful is this idea of a dry drunk. Basically what a dry drunk is someone could be sober, not actually drinking alcohol for 20 years, but they're still considered an alcoholic because the second that they get around alcohol, the second that alcohol touches their lips, they're going to be right back on the train of being an alcoholic. And that is something that is so dangerous. And that leads me right into truth number 2, which is deep wounds. There's truths to deep wounds affecting so much of our life, pornography and every other addiction. But with pornography isn't really the problem, it's the action. The problem is the deep wounds. And one thing that I learned that was so powerful is this idea of onions. The onion layer analogy, where onions have layers, just like our wounds have layers. The first layer is really just the behavior potentially of acting out with pornography, the behaviors of whatever that may be along the lines of acting out in sin. The second layer is potential resentments you have with family or friends or someone who hurt you in the past that you hold on to that maybe has made you a bit of a bitter person, and so on and so forth. I have blogs about this, and I'm going to be writing and making more videos about journaling and other forms of wounds, but I do have a blog post about wounds that is coming out and would be very valuable in this aspect. And number 3, and obviously so on and so on, but I'm just giving you examples of layers, but a third layer could be the lies that you have believed about yourself. These lies have created who you are, which probably isn't who you would like to be. I know for sure for myself, I'm just starting to actually become who I believe God has designed me to be, who I would truly like to be. 8-9 months ago, I was not who I wanted to actually be. So the third layer could easily be lies that you've believed about yourself that has created this identity that is false. You guys need to know that you are greater, you are meant for more, and that is a truth on its own. So one thing that I wanted to share and wrap up with is that you should be able to go into an environment, if you're a porn addict, I'll use that dry drunk example. I think personally myself, I think you should be able to go into an environment that could be, potentially triggering or tempting and not act out. The truth is, guys, is that you need to get rid of these wounds, because there's wounds that are making you seek comfort. When you seek comfort, you are lusting for things. And when you lust for things, you are looking for them to give you something in return, and they will never, ever give you anything in return. Lust is selfish and always equals overpromise, underdelivered. And love is selfless. And when you give love, you receive love. But you cannot receive love back from things like drugs and alcohol and pornography. The only thing you can actually receive love back from is a wife or a husband, or in my view, my God. And there's so much power in that, and realizing the difference between lust and love. So just to wrap up, guys, let's take a stand. Let's take a stand right now for holistic healing, so you can be a freedom fighter from your pornography habit, which then leads to you being a victor from food or smoking or whatever it may be. For myself, it was food and pornography. I'm free from pornography over 8 months now. I'm now on the verge of working on my food addiction. Yeah, I'm kind of scared. I like to work out as well. And I'm sure that some of you guys, sometimes maybe it just doesn't hurt bad enough, but it's starting to hurt for me. And I want to do something about it for my wife and my future family. And I hope you guys want to take a stand with me on the pornography habit and all the other things that follow. This is about health, holistic health, guys. Let's take a stand right now. Let's fight the good fight. Check me out on my website, SeanBonito.com. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Go to the website for blogs and resources and amazing tools for you to help on your journey. Check me out on Facebook at @sbonito. And if you want to email me, it's connect@SeanBonito.com. So it's been a pleasure. Blessings. Take care.